So my name is Omar Rampasad. It is 1:34 p.m., January 6, 2020. Happy New Year, 2020. And I'm still talking about this issue, ongoing issue of being targeted and microwaved to death inside of my home. So I tweeted a bunch of tweets today and talked about the power being turned up. So we are looking at this number here. So just to demonstrate, that's the hand tagged. From 0 to over 100. So it seemed that the left hand is tagged at a higher power than the right. So I talked about, in my tweets, I talked about varying range of readings from this detector and different areas in the body being pulsed at different power level. So this is a microwave detector. The electrical readings and RF readings indicate a system similar to an active denial system being used to cause pain, like a pain ray. So the higher the electrical component, the more pain is caused. And I also noticed when the RF reading is high, excruciating pain is caused. So when the electrical power is turned up, that's the VM, the EF reading there. When that power is turned up, there is a sustained pain that builds up. But when the RF reading is high, it's excruciating, sharp, piercing pain. That's my experience. Now you notice that I'm all gray. I color my hair. I started going gray when I was 21 years old. Um, I also recall in that year, well, my dad had passed away that year. Um, so there was a lot of emotional upheaval at that time. Um, so stress is most likely one of the reasons. However, a couple of years after that, um, I started getting headaches and nightmares, recurring nightmares that had absolutely nothing to do with my dad passing away. Um, these were they were dreams of problem solving. I'd have a nightmare about, as an example, about being put in a maze, and I have to find my way out. And if I don't find my way out, something bad is going to happen. And I remember going through this maze in my dreams, and I remember the dreams because they were recurring dreams. For years, I'd have the same dreams. I remember having to solve this puzzle in my dream and having a panic attack in my dream, which was real as I was sleeping, and panicking about not being able to get out and I'd be suffocated or something. So I'd get up with my heart racing and in this panic mode and um, just sweating. And the same dream would occur over and over and over and over and over again. Um, I also started getting backaches and inflammation in the in certain areas of the body. I never thought anything about it. I mean, nightmares are nightmares. Sometimes people get it. What was very fascinating about this was it was the same dream over and over and over and over and over. And a few years after that, I started noticing that I was being stalked. People would follow me around from the subway to the house to the subway. The same people would show up around me over and over and over again. Now I'm suspecting that the stalking was going on before that. I came to the country when I was 16 years old, but it wasn't obvious. So now that we know from the harassing comments, that's being repeated over and over and over and over and over again, that certain people, kids as well, are selected and given a manager, and uh, experiments are run on the child. And there are different kinds of experiment. One of the experiment right now that I'm dealing with is customization to clients, that because I'm being remotely trafficked. And that it becomes very clear that this is happening. Sorry, my nose is itching. Um, Excuse me. Um, I don't think I'm going to sneeze. Sorry. So there was a burning sensation in my nose there. And at the same time, my throat dries up suddenly. As I was saying, the stalking became clearer in my 20s. And then when I moved into this building, it became even more clear. So one of the experiments that is being run in this building is customizing victims who are flagged and trafficked to the clients who buys them. And it became very obvious that this is happening when a Chinese pimp called PK started calling me, and um, I posted all of this on the YouTube and on my Twitter account. So when he said that he heard that I give service, I'm not a prostitute, never been a prostitute. So I don't give service. The service that he heard that I was giving was a remote, forced, forcefully taken service. In other words, I'm being forcibly, remotely trafficked. And my tweets go into all the details about the pulses on my legs, what he said in his message and his conversation that I recorded. He wants to get between the legs, and that's the service that I give. He wants to play with an electric rod between the legs, and that's the service. So this is customization to clients like PK. So he's the pimp, he's the owner, and he has control. And he has people looking, that's his clients looking. Now, going back to all these years, and I'm going to be 60 this year. And I came to the country when I was 16 years old. There would have been managers along the line, down the line, since I was 16, because I think traffickers select vulnerable kids and families in order to experiment and traffic. So there would have been several people, managers like PK along the line on all those years, in all those years. So if my history was tracked back, taking the technology and taking the records that PK is generating and his network of people, there are other networks of people like PK who had accessed me Now, not all access is sexual. A lot of the access is geared towards experimentation. Not every manager take on the contract to rape or to have sexual contact. They take on the contract to do experiments. Now, pointing active denial system, a microwave technology between your legs is not always meant for sexual stimulation. It's meant for causing pain, number one, but causing inflammation, internal inflammation. It's an entry point into your body to cause internal inflammation and cysts and cancer and all these things. So it's not always meant to be sexual contact. So my question is, how far back does this file exist about me? Because once the experiment starts, the file is accumulated. Now, I've had managers call names of people in my past, um, way in the past, and talk about things that happened way in the past. So that file that's traveling with me have a lot of detailed information about my past. It also have a lot of false information because the file is also used to frame and entrap. So there's a lot of doubles being used to create false documents and false records to to um, to use in the appropriate manner when the time comes. So I heard that there's ongoing submissions from people in this building to mentally commit me because I'm supposed to be, in dire need and whatever else they're claiming, and I can't look after myself, whatever. So this is my submission to whatever forum they're using to make the submissions in courts, meetings, whatever. There is experimentation going on. The power is turned up. The power can kill. Microwaves can kill. I verbalize when I'm in pain because it also incites anger. Burning your skin with a laser will incite your anger. Keeping that anger inside is not healthy, according to my therapist. So it's a deliberate, these things are done deliberately. And the recordings inside of my home are deliberately done to be used to entrap me, to portray me as mentally ill, when there's absolutely no mental illness. Stress, no mental illness. So for those of you who are going prematurely gray, you might wonder why. Um, the point I was trying to make when I went into detail about having nightmares and so on was some of the experiments that I read about now that's been carried out on unwitting experimentees, people who don't know that they're being experimented on, you don't have to be a target to be experimented on, is their heads are being pulsed while they sleep, causing all kinds of images, all kinds of sounds, voices, dreams, and they're sequenced. And in my case, I'm suspecting the experiments were problem solving, testing problem solving skills, or upgrading it, I don't know. Teaching you in your dreams how to problem solve. With today's technology, very easily done, right? Um, so because it was so repetitive, your head is pulsed and microwaves will cause your hair to gray, to go, the pigment is going to disappear because the microwaves is going to kill the cells that generates the pigmentation. It's the same thing that happens when you get um, depigmentation of your skin, vitiligo, I think it's called. Same idea. Now, is it possible to survive these things? Obviously, I'm here and in perfectly good mental health. So the answer to that question is yes. What does it take? A lot of research, a lot of determination, a lot of willpower. But what, in my case, what made a big difference, the major difference, is a very, very, very strong spiritual background. And it wasn't so much the practice of it. I think a lot of it was just inheritance, just it was in my genes. I was just born with it. I was lucky enough to be born with it. A lot of people don't survive these experiments. They're horrendous. They torture us. They're excruciatingly, horrifically painful, emotionally, spiritually, physically. Can you survive it? I'm a living example that you can survive it and thrive at the same time. While I was home dealing with these issues that I just talked about, I finished a certificate. I'll be graduating with a certificate in customer service from the University of Waterloo. So, can you thrive while you're fighting, dealing with these issues? Yes, you can. Talk to you another time.